What's up, sports fans? Welcome to another edition of the DC Sports Huddle, and this is actually a special edition of the DC Sports Huddle as we look back on the year of 2022. And it's brought to you by MGM National Harbor. For the latest in Washington sports, visit MGM National Harbor and experience a sports fan's paradise. You know the crew by now. I'm Rob Woodfork. This is Dave Preston. He's got to cater something after this. This is George Wallace.
Thank you for hesitating.
He's got nothing to do.
I got nothing to do. But listen, they're all special editions, not just this one.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Okay?
right. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, did
You know what?
You got something better
You have
to do?
something to say?
You got something better?
No, we're good. We're
You got to be
good.
somewhere?
You sure?
You got somewhere?
What's in that cup?
Let's get this done before 2023, guys.
All right.
What are we talking about today, boss?
Oh, man, this has been a wild year in sports. They're all wild, though. I mean, I don't know that this one was standing out in ways that other years have not. It's 2022. We're going to hit on some of the top stories from the year. And we'll start with what was the story of the year. And just to lay out the categories for the good people, comeback athlete of the year, breakthrough athlete of the year, the moment of the year in DC sports, and the DC sports person / people of the year, and what we're looking forward to. What we're looking forward to in 2023, because it promises to be another fun year in sports, right?
Well, nothing's promised.
You're right. You're right.
Except this.
For me, the story
Except
of
this huddle. That's the story of the
it
year.
is special.
Yeah. Sorry.
It is. But 2022, my story of the year is the potential sale of the Commanders. Look, this has
You hear the
been
applause in the background?
something that we've talked about a lot over the course of the last 25 years, how little respect Snyder commands and all of the ways in which he's ruined what was a landmark franchise in Washington. So just the fact that there's now a light at the end of that tunnel, like a legitimate path toward
They're
new
hearing
ownership.
they're hearing proposals already.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, you're right.
So we're at a point now where, and look, here's the thing. I think his reign in Washington has changed in a lot of ways the outside perception of DC sports here. You know, it's like, oh, well, Washington, it's all bureaucrats and blah, 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 and, this guy's corrupt. And so I think that you get a new lease on life because, look, here's the thing. The NFL is the top of, professional sports.
Correct.
That's what's going to bring the most attention to your city. That's the thing that's going to garner, sort of the way people look at you. So you get some respectable ownership in here. I have a hard time believing that Washington's not going to be right back up there, especially if the team turns around its fortunes on the field. I have a hard time believing that this isn't going to be a franchise that, brings DC sports back to the national consciousness.
I think new owner, new stadium, like you said, new lease on life.
New world.
A new world.
New song for the Commanders, too,
Please don't
from what
sing.
I understand.
Please don't sing.
You may
Please
get
don't
it.
sing.
You may get it. No, you don't sing.
This is a song-free zone.
Just tell everybody to go to the internet and they'll find you singing it. And look, see what you made me do? And probably a whole new rebrand also.
Yeah.
So I think that day can't come soon enough. I think you're starting to see the fans embrace that. You've stopped seeing the sell the team signs, the chant sell the team.
Right. Or less of it. Yeah.
Since this all came out. I mean, at the game against the Giants, that Sunday night game, you saw actually Washington fans were into it.
Yeah.
Yes, they were half Giant fans, yes.
Yeah.
But
the
the Washington fans that were there, you're starting to see them get more and more into it, the chanting of the team and even, just into a football game. Right. So I think you're seeing what will be once he is gone. And I think, to your point, if they do get better, keep getting better on the field, get a quarterback, and start to play some consistent football, I think you're going to see a whole new thing. I've stated since the first game after his ownership is over, you are going to see. It's never going to be 100% because it's not like it was, but because you still have some fans that aren't going to come back.
Right.
Once they change the name, I think you lost some fans that won't come back that were older fans. Okay, that's just what it is. But I think you will see a full stadium in burgundy and gold, and a whole new, just a whole new atmosphere.
To both of your points, this has always been, for better or for worse, a football town. Even when other teams, even when baseball, soccer, basketball, college tennis, even when there are other marquee players in town and champions and winners and record setters, but this has been it goes back to when the Burgundy and Gold played at RFK, and the Caps were a new team out in Landover. The Bullets were a new team out in Landover. There was no baseball, so you didn't have that day-to-day team that you followed over the course of the summer. You had to go to Baltimore to catch baseball, even though it was a really good product. You still had to go to Baltimore. And so, this there was a time when, and you hear stories about, driving, when I drove home, when I first moved to the area at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on football Sunday, the streets were empty. It was so easy to get home. And so I think there's always going to be those, no matter what happens with new ownership, those things don't die. And so I think that if there is a new owner within the next year, you never know, because sometimes the NFL, it could be 1 year, March. It could be 5 years. The league operates glacially sometimes. And I think if there's a new owner, you will see a new love for this team, because people love this team and they hate the fact that they've had to put up with this product, whether it's on the field, whether it's off the field, whether it's sewage, charging for parking, and all the rigmarole has really it's really ruined the fan experience. So that's a huge story. Wait,
real quick, because people they're dying to want to love the team again.
Right.
They are. There are still now the hardcore fan base has dwindled so much under this guy. That's true too.
Right.
The ones that are at games now are still the diehards that still have the tickets, this and that. But you will see the others come back. But like I said, some won't come back. But it will be a whole new atmosphere.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, before I was in this job and before I was covering the team for a living, I stopped going to games. I stopped buying the gear.
Right.
I did all of these things to boycott because I didn't care for Dan Snyder.
Right.
And I didn't care for the way the team was operating and the way the team was run. I feel like people in that same camp who are just like, I got to turn it off because there's nothing likable about it. And that's the thing, is like, sports are supposed to be inherently enjoyable.
Yeah.
So once there's something to enjoy, and I don't think there's anything bandwagon about it, I think once there's something to enjoy, people will come back.
I agree.
And I think you cultivate new fans, because then you have, this is a very transient area. So you have people who move from out of town. I mean, Dave would be a nice example of that. He moved to town and sort of picked up on all of the things, and now look where he is today.
Wearing a red shirt with a black vest.
That's right. He's about to go. I think he's going to a dinner theater right after this.
Knife throwing.
It's like
a circus.
Almost like a magician.
Yeah, it's like the James Bond film.
Magician who brings you drinks.
Guy who threw knives at 009.
But yeah, so
I thought it was 007.
I think you're right.
009 got killed.
Oh,
that's how
is that how that happened?
The movie Octopussy. Some dude dressed up as a clown near the Berlin Wall. Hunted down by people dressed like me.
Oh, okay. So, all right. I just didn't see this tie into sports, but
that's next week.
There's none.
That's next week's special edition of the Huddle. That's next week.
Yeah, next week's edition of the Huddle is
Come for the Swords.
This is going to come out in post-production,
is Die Hard a
right?
Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Now, you want to have that discussion?
I mean, we could, because of course there's two people on that debate. There's the people who recognize it is not a Christmas movie, it's just an action movie that takes place during Christmas, and then there's people who are wrong. So
it's a Christmas movie.
Oh, word?
You've got an Alan Rickman.
I thought we were friends.
You've got an Alan Rickman.
You know somebody for 12 years, and you think you know
I thought that's what you just said.
Yeah.
No, I said it's not a Christmas movie. It's absolutely not a Christmas movie. It's not.
It's No Honor Majesty's Secret Service, which is a Christmas movie. Merry Christmas, 007.
We are incredibly off the rails. What was your story of the year?
My story of the year is it's a player and it's a fading team. It's Alex Ovechkin and his pursuit of Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe. That as of this taping, Ov is 1 goal shy at 800 for his career, which is frigging phenomenal.
Yes.
When you think about it. And the fact that he has 20 goals on the season at age 37, 38 is unbelievable too. The fact that he has twice as many goals as anyone else on this roster, and he is doing it without his top assist man in his career is Nicholas Backstrom. Won't be back before the All-Star break. Tom Wilson is probably the third most important player on this team behind Ovi and Backstrom, and he is yet to skate in a regular season game. So you have Ovi chasing history while you have a team chasing its past. And over the last 4 years, this team has gotten progressively older. They missed a window of opportunity in 2019 when they were up 2-0 and then 3-2 against Carolina. TJ Oshie was hurt for the rest of the series. They lost that in overtime in the 7th game. They've not won a playoff series since they won the Stanley Cup in 2018. And so you see Ovi's star as rising as he's tackled milestones over the last season or two. And you see the team fading, and it's unfortunate, but that's the story. The story is, can Ovi catch Wayne Gretzky, and does this team have another run in the playoffs in them? And I think the answers are yes and no, sadly, but I think it's going to be great following this team over the next year or two to see Ovi chase greatness, because even if he doesn't get to 894, he is the best pure goal scorer in NHL history, bar none. The way that defenses are set up today, the way that goaltending is today, as opposed to the 80s, the way that offenses are run, he is. If I'm not one of those bean counting, hey, if you go by the pi r squared, whatever, and give him 3 goals to 2 or whatever, but. For what
he is kind of a bean.
Kind of wish you were.
For what he is doing at a higher level than anyone else has over a longer period. He's 37, and at age 37, nobody scores this many goals.
No, and the fun part is with him now too is the conversation about the greatest DC sports athlete of all time.
Right.
Walter Johnson.
He has to be. That's a whole other conversation. But I mean,
Walter Johnson, Sammy Baugh, Alex Ovechkin
have to be in the conversation.
And then Wes Unseld Sr.
Yeah, definitely.
But also, and for all the reasons that he so eloquently laid out, that's why Ovi is my DC Sports Person of the Year, because really there's no bigger story in DC sports than his assault on the record books right now. And the thing, and Jay and I go back, and Jay Brooks and I go back and forth.
We're going to hear from Jay later.
We are going to hear from Jay in a little bit.
Does he say Yari Yager is the best goal scorer? Is that his?
Well, no, he would never say that. And if he did, then it would be a fight. But he said,
not to your face.
No, right. He and I go back and forth on this because he thinks that the Alex Ovechkin goal, going for these records, is detracting away from the team competing for championships. I mean, the point is to score, right?
How does he think? I don't get that.
I don't necessarily get it either, to be honest with you. But it's just he's scoring goals. It's not like it has to be an assist or they're changing the way they play in order for Ovi to get these. I mean,
he's still playing at a high level.
And that's the thing.
If he's not, if it's like
right,
it's not like he's leading the team in hits or cross checks.
If he's a liability on the ice and you're just trotting him out there to get a record, then yes, I get that. But he's still helping them win. He's still the engine toward them winning. He's still the catalyst for them winning.
Like Bruce Smith getting the sack record.
That was detracting, right?
Yeah.
So to me, this is just sort of an added layer.
Yeah.
This is yes, Alex Ovechkin is getting a lot of the attention, but this is not in any way detracting from the Capitals' bid to get back into the playoffs. And if they advance in the playoffs, let's be real, he's going to have to keep scoring like that.
Yeah, and
although
look,
they have won a couple of games here where they haven't had any of their regular guys score, but
But they're also winning 7 of 8 right now with him.
Yeah.
Or at the time of this taping.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing at a high level.
Correct. And that's the main thing, is he's playing at a high level, and
it's not
he's
a charity
also
case.
doing us.
It's not like he's limping to the end.
Correct.
True. It's not like he's a designated hitter who doesn't play in the field and gets his 4 at-bats to pad his home run record. He's skating these 40 to 50-second shifts at age 37.
Right.
So, I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
He's scoring prolifically. It's not detracting from the team. It's not like they're going out of their way to get him the puck. And it's not like guys are passing open shots to get Ovi the puck or whatever, And
if you take him off of this roster, oh my. Take away his 20 goals off of this team, and they are basically looking at the draft lottery.
And you're looking at 8,000 people in the arena.
Yeah, that too.
If that. So just to use that as a segue, what's your DC Sports Person of the Year.
Wait, can I give my story?
He's got a story.
You said your story, didn't you?
No, he kind of liked your story. He did, but he's got his own story.
He just liked my
We
story.
all
We have
have
another
stories.
ownership situation, and the fall from the top for your baseball team, big time.
Oh, yeah.
The Soto sell-off.
Yeah.
Well, the learners are selling.
yeah.
The selling off of everything. And then Juan Soto, if you had said, when you just, and look, we've harped on it forever, but the fact this team won the World Series in October 31st of 2019, they didn't have their victory lap, and the way they have gone and the amount of veterans that have left this team since then,
It's historic.
it's unbelievable.
It's unprecedented.
If you would have said that day in just 3 short years, how many of these would still be on the roster? You could argue, you'd said maybe 2 or 3 are gone, but not 5 or 6.
Yeah.
It's one thing to lose. You're always going to lose some players, and you're
100%.
always going to lose some veterans.
Yes.
You're always going to have some guys like a Daniel Hudson, who it's like, okay, he came on and for the run, and he doesn't fit in with the long-term plans. But for them to trade Trey Turner 1 year and then trade Juan Soto the next, 2 guys who are still in their building block. I mean, those are 2 guys that you build a lineup around. You have Turner bat second, Soto bat third for a decade.
Yeah.
And the fact that they sold off so soon, moving on from Juan Soto, I get the long game, I guess, but the fact that you get rid of a bat that you could have built, you could have still, in theory, it would have been more difficult to build around Juan Soto. It would have been more difficult to build around Juan Soto and Trey Turner, but your eyes don't lie to you, and it's okay. You've got a very good offensive shortstop who can get on base and put him in front of a very good right fielder who can hit home runs and get on base. And you just pad the lineup with other fast guys and veterans who can do stuff. And the fact that Nats management opted not to do so is a major disappointment. And I feel bad for the kids who you want to root for a guy for a decade, like hockey fans have gotten a chance to root for Ovi.
Right.
And my thing is this brand, the Nationals brand, is not established enough that it can just let go of a generational talent like that. And I think I've said it here before.
With still 2 years left.
Correct. But my thing is
control.
In Mike Rizzo, just the brazen arrogance of, we built a champion before and we'll just build one again. Bro, I mean, you could do this another 25 years and not get another Juan Soto. So for me, it's like, look, I understand that end of the argument. You trade away this guy because you're going to get this great bounty of players. We're still waiting for some of these kids to develop. But my thing is, you developed kids before, and they ended up being really good players for a World Series champion. And then you didn't want to keep them. So then what are you selling me on now? If you're going to keep trading away the guys, you're going to develop these guys, and then you're just going to trade them away. Is what your record tells me.
And it's the sad thing because the ownership situation. And
I get that piece of it.
But unless Juan Soto told me I'm not re-signing here, regardless of who the new owner is, that's different. But if I'm the new owner, I'm pissed if I come in maybe and I'm like, give me a shot at the guy.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Seriously,
right?
Yeah.
Because I don't believe for a second that they checked with potential owners to figure out if it's Ted Leonsis, whoever.
Yeah.
Now maybe that's different because they have a relationship, but also Ted's got a track record of paying.
I was just about to say that. Like,
So
if
if
Ted Leonsis ends up being the guy, it's just going to be like, I kept Bradley Beal all these years, and Alex Ovechkin for all these years.
Pay John Wallace money.
Yeah, I mean, if he ends up being the owner, then that just makes it that much worse for the Nationals because Juan Soto would have retired as a Washington National.
And it's not fair to your fan base. It's not fair. It's you've basically just said we don't care at this point.
And even
maybe that's a little harsh.
And even though you do,
I don't think it's harsh.
Even though there's broadcast revenue from the national radio and TV and stuff like that, baseball has 81 home dates that you've got to sell out. You still need to fill a ballpark. And not just against the Mets and Phillies, but against, now that they're playing everybody, against the Brewers, against the Mariners,
Royals.
against the A's.
Keep going.
You need,
Guardians.
You need some star power. And Joey Meneses, nice story, but not a star.
I'm not coming to the ballpark to see him yet.
Juan Soto was a
or
star.
C.J. Abrams or any of these guys.
Soto was a guy that if he was up, you would watch his at-bat.
Yeah.
You would not go to the bathroom. You would not change the channel. You would not, get yourself a soda if you were at home or whatever. You would watch him. And the fact that they sold off from him, just it stinks. And
the two that people are that you should be upset about, the Trey Turner one, because he was not up. You traded him.
No.
Yeah.
You don't know that you were going to resign him. And the Juan Soto situation. What that tells you as a fan base is that Harper, fine. You negotiated with. He didn't want to be here.
Right.
I don't think anyway. Fine, gone. Rendon didn't want to be here. You picked Strasburg, Rendon, fine. They're both hurt. They both have kind of fallen off. But Rendon wanted to go back to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Trey Turner, you had a chance. You trade him. Juan Soto, same deal. You're basically saying from 2 years in advance that we are not going to pay this guy.
Right. No, but I think why Juan Soto sort of, and especially sticks in my craw personally, is just because this is a guy who, number one, has a wide appeal.
Yeah.
You could be black, white, Latino, doesn't matter. Everybody loves them some childish Bambino.
Yep.
So that's number one. And number two, we were okay with you letting go of Trey Turner. We were okay with you letting go of Rendon. We were okay with all of that with Bryce and Max and all those guys because, you're saving money to keep Juan Soto.
Juan, correct.
And then for that not to happen.
The reason to leave all those
Agreed.
to let all those, so you basically telling me you let all those guys go for nothing.
Which is what they did.
So I think that's why that was just such a monumental disappointment. Not just to the fans, but I mean, even for us who cover the team, because who wants to go to the ballpark and watch a 100 and whatever lost team? Nobody wants to do that.
There's an angry guy that I know who yells at his computer, and
But that's funny.
that's because it's true.
But the Soto, he turned down a $400 million, whatever. That's fine. He's also waiting to see what is going to happen with.
There's a back and forth.
Yeah.
There's a back and forth.
Well, and there's a lot of uncertainty right now.
And the party that pulled out was the Nationals.
Yeah, and look,
Yeah.
so what if he turned it down? He doesn't know who the new owner is going to be. I want him to turn him down in 2 years
Right.
when the new owner comes in.
So safe to say Juan Soto is not our player of the year in DC Sports. Is that going to be accurate?
I don't think that would be accurate.
Well, from April to
Oh,
July.
gosh.
Who was the player of the year?
I said Alex Ovechkin. Who's your player?
I'm going to go with Taylor Heineke because
why do we do this?
He ignited a fan base and an offense that was going absolutely nowhere. Taylor Heineke, it's a subjective vote. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because I'm going to push back on this, but I'm going to let you say your piece first.
Should he be the starting quarterback come January 1st? Who knows? But he ignited a fan base, and he turned a team that was very much a pretender and sub 500 into a contender, a team that controlled its own path to the playoffs up through Christmas weekend. So that's why Taylor Heineke is my player of the year in Washington,
Or one could say control their destiny.
But it's not destiny.
Let's be honest. There aren't many options.
You get so mad about it.
There aren't many options for player of the year in DC, are there?
No.
My pushback, no. I mean, there's yeah.
Well, I did Ovi for story of the year.
Right.
So
for me, Ovi is that guy, and I don't know that there's a super close second. But to push back just briefly on the Heineke thing, Heineke, you could have said that exact same thing last year. So to me, it's not unique. No, I know you
said
did.
Ovi last year.
No, but I'm saying you could have.
Yeah.
So he's not necessarily, and I'm not saying Ovi's new, but it's like I don't know that he did anything this year that he didn't do last year for a team that's probably going to finish right around the same in terms
time,
of one loss.
I argue. I go with. I go with Ovi. What he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean that's fair. You can also
enough.
throw in. And I know we're going to hear from this later, but Francis Tiafoe as well.
Yes, and that's a good segue to unless you got something else.
No.
Good segue.
I'm just I like just having a conversation about these.
Breakthrough athlete of the year. Francis Tiafoe is a guy that is very high on that list.
Yeah.
And mine is actually Jahan Dotson.
Okay.
Very good one.
He leads the team. He's got 6 touchdown catches through 14 games. And I did the I'm looking here because I compared him to Chris Olave because I feel like a lot of people, myself included, said you're picking 11th, and what they ended up doing was trading back, and they got more picks and what have you. But you had Chris Olave sitting there when it was your turn to pick. You had Kyle Hamilton, the safety, who ended up with the Ravens. You had him sitting there, and those are 2 guys that I felt Washington should have gone for. So I was like, Dotson, what? Why? Dotson actually has more touchdowns than, actually twice as many touchdowns as Chris Olave. His 14.7 yards per catch, right there. It's pretty comparable. They're almost identical to Olave. And quite frankly, there's a noticeable difference in the Commanders' offense when you see Jahan Dotson, because he did miss some time with injury. That offense was very different and not in a good way. So I say Jahan Dotson. I've been conflating the two guys
Jahan's
so much.
your
Jahan
breakthrough
Dotson,
player.
my breakthrough athlete of the year.
Here's one for you. Here's a breakthrough athlete.
Go.
How about we?
Yeah.
What? Okay. Talia Tagovailoa at Maryland.
Oh,
I
okay.
like that.
All right.
That's a good breakthrough.
Sets the record for passing yards, and he's coming back next year.
Yeah.
So that's I think that is a good option.
That is a good option.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
good
I agree
one.
with that.
I'm going to stay on the Maryland campus, but switch sports. I'm going to go with Cheyenne Sellers. Maryland had another decent year this past winter, but they lost a ton of players to transfer, lost seniors Katie Benson and Chloe Bibby to graduation. And a lot of question marks surrounding what sort of team that Brenda Fries would be able to put together. Cheyenne Sellers was the top player coming off the bench last year, a defensive dynamo, a specialist, really shut down opposing threats. This year she's stepped up. She's hit some game-winning shots, and she is, along with Diamond Miller, on a very limited Maryland team as far as size. She is one of the go-to players on this roster. She's just a sophomore, and she is the next. And I say this with Diamond Miller being a great Terrapin right now at this time, having, I think she was Big Ten tournament MVP a couple years ago. Cheyenne Sellers is the next great Maryland Terrapin under Brenda Fries' watch.
There you go.
Did you select
What?
Breakthrough?
breakthrough athlete of the year?
We just did that.
No,
I
I'm
said
saying-
Talia.
That was your choice?
Yeah.
Okay. How about the comeback athlete
easy.
of the year?
Brian Robinson.
Okay.
Dude was shot in August in the leg, and didn't know he was going to play football at all. And then to see what he's done and how far he's come since then. I mean, for me, that's just, does it fit under the category? Don't know. Out last year, but
I would count it.
judges,
He is coming back from something.
judges,
Oh.
and he told us the other day that he's still not 100%. So that's kind of scary if he's not, because he's running the football, and he's exactly what this team had hoped to see.
On
when
those
they
lines,
drafted him.
my preseason crazy prediction was that he'd miss the first 5 weeks, but he'd come in and he'd be able to rush for 1,000 yards. He's not going to hit 1,000 yards unless he averages like 125
Well, they're not giving him the
per
ball.
game. Yeah, they're not giving him the ball enough. But he's got a chance to hit 800 or 900, which is absolutely outstanding.
Tremendous.
My comeback players with the same team but a different position and a longer comeback, Curtis Samuel. I think he only had 10 touches in 2021. His absence was a big reason why this offense sputtered last year. His presence is a big reason why this offense thrives at times this year. Granted, we spoke in another edition of the Huddle. He doesn't need 5 carries when he's only gaining 1 yard.
That was the special edition.
Yes, but his ability to provide another option to take attention away from Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson gives this passing offense something that they really haven't had in some time. 3 legitimate threats, and not including the tight end. 3 decent threats downfield. That's something, and if this team does make the playoffs, it's going to be because they've had a healthy Curtis Samuel all season.
Agreed.
I'm going to have a guy who is not local,
Okay.
but I'm going to tie it in locally. I'm going to say Geno Smith in Seattle.
Okay.
Because
I'd love to hear how you're going to do this.
they left this man's career for dead.
Seattle is in Washington.
I mean, see, that's how I did the tie.
All the way over there.
So Washington State.
If you buy the Commander's mug, some will have
That's
the
true. That's state of Washington.
So, I mean, there's an underrated story from the
Perfect.
year. But Geno Smith, I mean, this guy shows that whatever secret sauce they have at the quarterback position in Seattle works no matter what the name on the back of the jersey is.
Agreed.
Because right now, he's playing like Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson is playing like what we thought Geno Smith was going to be. So Geno Smith is the comeback athlete of the year. You guys wrote him off. He didn't write back. Those are his words, not mine. Now, the local tie is that Geno Smith's success in Seattle, George is going to love this. Geno Smith's success in Seattle only reinforces my belief that Cam Newton still has enough left in the tank to come in here and make Washington a playoff contender.
That's how you're tying it locally?
That's how I'm tying it locally, because if Geno Smith can come off the mat, a former MVP who has already played in this system can come into Washington
it's too late.
And lift
His
them.
player of the year is Taylor Heineke. It's too late.
Yeah.
It's not too late. It's not too late.
So you want Cam Newton to come in? He's now look at you. Now look at
I
you.
do.
You want him to come in now
Off of his walker.
before week 17.
Yeah.
I'm not saying come in now. I'm saying you bring him in, you give him an entire offseason in an offense that he's already played in.
Do you think Cam Newton can still play at this time?
I do.
After being off this time?
Especially when he hasn't been hit in a year and a half.
Could go the other way.
He hasn't completed any passes
could.
in a year and a half.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It could go the other way. Yeah. But you know what? It's not going to cost $28 million like Carson Wentz did. That is a very cheap and easy answer right there.
You know what ain't costing $28 million next year is Carson Wentz.
And if it doesn't work out, guess what? You're exactly where you are right now. You're playing Taylor Heineke for another season.
It's true.
So,
where's this? Are we still on Geno Smith?
Yep.
What's
next? What's next in our what is next in our holiday grab bag?
I used Geno as a Trojan horse to get Cam Newton in this episode.
Fair enough. All right, let's see if anybody's still watching. What's next?
Moment of the year in DC Sports. I'm going to say Ovi's hat trick to reach 800
that
goals.
Was a good one.
This may be a recency bias on my part, but my God, that was a fun game. The guy scores 3 goals. He gets to that nice even round number. They end up winning the game. I thought it was a tremendous moment in DC Sports, and the respect that he gets from the Chicago crowd on the road.
Yep.
You expect that to happen at Capital One Arena. Everybody understands that, but to be on the road and to get the Ovi chants and all of that, very surreal experience there.
Along those lines, I think maybe on the other side of the coin of moment of the year was the overtime goal surrendered against Florida in Game 6. Capitals, they won Game 1, they were up 2-1, and they didn't win another game. And old legs trying to guard young legs. And we saw for the 4th straight year, the Capitals come up short in the first round in a game where they had multiple opportunities to win, in a series where they had multiple chances to take a 3-1 series lead and then win the thing. I was there for that night, and it was a tough one to swallow as somebody who's covered this team, and it felt just as disappointing as it was to see them lose in Game 7 in overtime to Carolina 3 years previously.
All right, now that Buzz Killington's done, what
are we on? Moment?
Moment. Moment, George.
Top DC moment of the year.
So I have a couple we could do. I think, and this is my moment of last year too, July 31st, trade deadline. They got rid of Juan Soto.
Yeah. That was watershed.
Second for me would be Tiafoe's run at the U.S. Open.
Yes.
So I think you could have 1A, 1B there. Those are 2 pretty big moments for me. Always a great moment too, though.
Some other moments this past year that don't qualify as a great DC sports moment, but I think that should be mentioned. Start off college basketball. The CAA tournament was at the Entertainment and Sports Arena near Congressional Heights. I think they're going back there in 2023. If not, they should go back there sooner rather than later. Delaware became our local school. Exactly. But it was a great 3-4 days of basketball there, and then followed up by the Atlantic 10 tournament. I wish it was in Washington more. Richmond had an incredible run of 4 wins in 4 days. They easily could have lost in the first round to a Rhode Island team that then fired their coach immediately. It's a perfect storm is where George Washington and George Mason are also playing well. That didn't happen this year, but the A10 tournament was a lot of fun to be at. 2 other moments, the Wells Fargo Championship up at TPC Avondale with Max Homa winning, and he really came on as a player this year. It was great to see him play well, and Rory McIlroy was in town, and although Rory did not win, Homa just had a fantastic Sunday. The PGA Women's Championship was at Congressional, and anytime you can go to Congressional and get the brunch buffet. It's a beautiful day.
That spread for that
was
tournament?
Good. That was good.
I'll tell you what.
That was, but it shows that I think that DC, with the right hands, and we talk about change of ownership for the Burgundy and Gold, if they're able to get a dome stadium, who's to say that this doesn't become a Super Bowl city? Because DC is a great event town, as we've seen with the A10, the CAA, the PGA, the LPGA. I think that there are some great possibilities that hopefully we can, maybe see a dome stadium in a Super Bowl. What is it? Super Bowl. It would be Super Bowl what?
At this point, 20 years.
XVXLXVI.
When was the NBA All-Star game here? Oh, what?
That was 01. Right. It was either 2000 or 2001.
It wasn't when Jordan was playing, was it?
That would have been right before. Yeah. So I think
anyway,
Jordan was in the
I
think Jordan was in the front office at that point.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's actually a good segue to the what we're looking forward to most in 2023, because the thing I'm looking forward to most is the Washington Commanders, presumably, hopefully, please, getting new ownership and potentially a rebrand, because that's something that we've discussed a little bit.
Yeah,
is whoever the new owner is coming in, your first order of business is get a new stadium.
Yep.
And I'm pushing get a new training facility.
That's just as important, if not more.
More so important.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to keep pushing that until speak that into existence. And then the third thing is I don't think I've met anybody who likes and I'm even looking offset here to look for somebody who likes the Commander's name. I don't think I've met a single person who likes the new name.
What would you have gone with? What would you have if you had just one?
You know my answer. The Washington Federals, because there is nothing better than just having a stadium full of people saying, "Here come the Feds."
Okay.
I think that the double entendre would be wonderful.
I like the regiments. The regiments I thought would be a good one.
But a lot of people were on the Red Wolves thing, and I don't understand that. There's no tie to Washington there. Federals at least fits in with Nationals, Capitals.
People were all about the HTTR. They were the Redskins, Red Wolves.
I'm not going to name a team because of a hashtag. I'm sorry. That's a terrible reason. Twitter is not going to exist by the time this episode ends anyway.
So what's going to happen then on January 1st when they announce that the Hogs is the new mascot, by the way, which is going to happen?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. They need to stop naming anything. They need to stop. Just stop. Wait until you have new ownership. Stop. Don't retire anybody's jersey. Don't make these Foot Locker installations when you said it was going to be a statue. Stop doing stuff. Wait till there's a new owner and then let him decide, or she, let whoever the new owner is decide, because I still want Oprah to buy the team. But
that'd be cool.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I actually wrote a column several years ago
That's a
Oprah.
new one.
No, because it was because
what is the deal with Oprah?
It was when the Carolina Panthers were for sale.
Yeah.
I was just like, yo, Oprah Winfrey. She's one of a small handful of people who can just stroke a check for the cost of a NFL
She probably
franchise.
hires someone to stroke the check,
well,
too.
correct, and that's the thing.
Which is just awesome.
Yeah. But I'm way off track there. But the bottom line is that to me is the biggest thing to look forward to in 2023.
100% mine as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait to see it's going to be very intriguing early part of the year. Like if this goes down before the owners' meetings in March.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if it's going to happen, it needs to happen
the sooner
earlier
the better.
in the offseason. So because at this point, if a new owner does come in after January, early February, March, whatever, by the time he's approved, he or she's approved. So this coach, the whole staff's coming back next year. Like this whole staff has bought itself another year of era
much, yeah.
because of the transition.
Might make a cosmetic move,
Yeah.
Somebody will
right.
move somewhere
if
else.
They go down, if they go in the tank the last 4 weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
But as they always do with this team, you're going to finish right there in the middle for them to say, let's run it back. We're good. Let's run it back. Same cast of characters. Anyway, but yes, I'm looking forward to that as well.
I'm actually looking forward to the upcoming conference college basketball season. As you guys know, I vote in the AP Top 25.
Yeah, you do.
Maryland has shown us a lot of promise
that was
early
my
in the
second
season.
story, how Kevin Willard's going to do.
You have that. You also have what is going on with Georgetown. They were on the road. They led UConn in the second half. And all of a sudden, they went on a ridiculous run, the Huskies. And the Hoyas have not won a regular season Big East game since March of 2021. So it's been, you wonder
their last
how.
win was actually the tournament, right?
Yes, their last win was the tournament.
Big East tournament.
Yeah,
Wow.
but they lost a regular season game before that, too.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying their last actual win, conference win, Big East win.
And you wonder what's going to happen.
648 days after the UConn loss.
Somebody's keeping track. So you've got that.
Yeah.
You've got a new regime at George Washington. You've got an American university that's won some games. A Howard that beat Harvard earlier this month. You have George Mason that's in year 2 under Kim English. And then I always like to bring Virginia, Commonwealth, and Richmond into the swing of things because they play in the A-10, so you get a chance to see them a little more. Those schools are always fun to watch when they're good. And then there's Virginia and Virginia Tech, who are both in the rankings as well. So it's the season, in my opinion, even though they play a ton of games in November, December that rankle me for having high leverage games this early in the season, the season really doesn't begin until January 1st, and you're in the heat of you're in the meat of conference play. So again, I think first and foremost, what sort of staying power does Maryland have? And two, what is going on with Georgetown? That's A1 and A2. And then what can Maryland do against the women do against a very competitive Big Ten this year?
Yeah, a lot to look forward to. And look, we have all the fun here at the DC Sports Huddle. And we try to get as many of our fellow WTOP sports reporters involved as we can. But because of conflicting schedules and the difficulty of managing a 24/7, 365 operation.
Well, plus, it's not anybody really next to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I'm not trying to sit like this is, as a matter of fact, I'm too close to Dave right now. I'm too close to Dave right now. But we did have some of our colleagues chime in on some of these topics. And we'll start with Jay Brooks because he was talking about the exact thing that we were talking about right now.
What am I looking forward to most in 2023 in the world of sports? How about the NFL getting rid of the tie? Yes, the way the college ranks do it isn't the most popular, but you gotta admit, the conclusion of the Army-Navy game was quite interesting, wasn't it? Let's see what the NFL could do next season.
Apologies, we couldn't be there in person for the recording of the show. We were under the impression it was going to be catered. We found out it wasn't, and never mind. DC Breakthrough Athlete of the Year, give me the Nationals, Joey Meneses. And a lesson of good things come to those who wait. How about the 30-year-old Joey Meneses, after 10-plus seasons in the minors, finally earned his first big league promotion in early August after the trade of Juan Soto to San Diego. And all Meneses did over the final 2 months of the season was hit and produce. Hit .324 for average, 13 homers, 14 doubles, walk-off hits, clutch hits. Guy was a man possessed over the final 2 months in an otherwise lost season for the Nationals. Joey Meneses was a whole lot of fun to watch. DC Sports Person of the Year, give me the big foe, Frances Tiafoe. He had the memorable run to the U.S. Open semifinals, beating Rafael Nadal on the way on the big stage of Arthur Ashe Stadium, but Tiafoe was hardly a 2-week wonder in 2022. He was good throughout the calendar year, fourth-round appearance at Wimbledon, quarterfinalist here in D.C. at the City Open, and then after his U.S. Open run, how about a trip to the finals in Tokyo, and also on the big stage helping Team World secure the win at the Laver Cup. Way to go, Frances Tiafoe, 24 years of age, realizing that potential. He's up to the top 20 in the ATP World Rankings. Frances Tiafoe, my DC Sports Person of the Year.
So, Ben, first of all, nice ride.
He couldn't even take the time to go inside?
No, he didn't even want to, get to a... But I mean, the sound quality is good in the car.
Right. It's fine.
Yeah, it was fine. Fine.
And no ties.
Should we tell him?
I kind of like the J, no ties.
No, he's right.
Should we tell Ben that today was actually kind of catered?
Yeah, it was catered.
Sorry, man. Sorry, we didn't know. We didn't know until the moment of.
Yes, we did.
We
knew he wasn't. We didn't tell him, though.
No, first of all, Ben can smell it.
That's true.
Because he does it in the newsroom all the time. He's not
true.
scheduled. There's no Caps game, and then magically he's there.
That's fair.
Eating cookies. No. This was a fun episode, guys.
This is good.
I feel
this
like
was a fun year, gentlemen.
We should probably do this every year.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, let's not get carried
No,
away.
you don't want to? Okay.
No, we can.
Yeah, you're right.
Something.
You're right. Yeah, George's commitment is hard for George sometimes. So he's the only guy here who's married. So I mean, what am I talking about?
Yeah, exactly, man.
Good night, everybody. Happy New Year.
As of this taping, he's the only guy here married.
There you go.
The DC Sports Huddle, as always, sponsored by MGM National Harbor. For the latest in Washington sports, visit MGM National Harbor and experience a sports fan's paradise. I am Rob Woodfork, wishing you and yours happy holidays and a happy New Year. This is Dave Preston, whose shirt is doing the same.
Festive.
And that is George Wallace.
I wear it once a year.
Also greeting
happy holidays.
all of our great
Merry Christmas,
fans
Happy New Year.
and viewers.
Peace.
And because we don't ever wrap up a huddle without breaking the huddle.
You guys do.
I like the quick clap.
Yeah, because I thought you were going to be a little more